it really was successful at that. It's Red Bull athletes have come here to ride it.
Okay.
People stop in Redding just to lap that trail. And so what that did was it kind of put Redding Trail Alliance on the map because we were able to go out and do a really cool thing. And with that, it garnished a lot of community support. And then we continued to have that McConnell funding for that first 3 years.
Okay.
So Enticer, Snail Trail rebuild, taking another trail and turning it into a pretty legit flow trail. And that's probably now one of our most popular trails. Just did a major rebuild on it again this year.
Is that Snail Trail or a different one?
Snail Trail,
Okay.
yeah. Then we did a couple little reroutes, built Owen's Run, named after my dog.
Right.
So that trail was built to get people up to the top of Enticer quicker and easier. Then fast forward to 10 years later, I think we have 26 miles of new trails that we built under our belt.
Okay. Now, how many? Because I grew up when the OHV, which is now almost exclusively off-road vehicles, out at Shasta Dam was still a mountain bike area, and then all the trails around Whiskeytown. John Schumann book was published when I was riding a bunch. It was Whiskeytown trails, like maybe I was 96, 95, somewhere in there. A lot of those trails got burned, got destroyed. How has Redding Trail Alliance come alongside the existing trails that used to be those old school trails that I enjoyed growing up?
Yeah. We work with the land managers to the extent that we have the capacity to and that they will allow it. And Whiskeytown has definitely changed their tune as far as like their engagement with us and the public to help keep their trails open and open their trails. In Whiskeytown, they shut down all the trails that were on the the Shasta Valley drainage. Anything that was, so like Kanaka, Rich Gulch, Brandy Creek, Boulder Creek, Mill Creek, like all those trails were shut down for 3 years after the car fire due to, I think it was somebody down in LA, a decision they made.
Okay.
I don't think it was the right decision, and I think a number of people in the park don't either, but it was the decision that was made. And so because of that, you had trails that were neglected for 3 years. Didn't touch them at all. And then going back in and trying to reopen those trails, it's almost as difficult as just like creating a new. We were able to get a grant and reopen one of the more popular mountain bike trails out there called the Chimney. If you've ridden out in Whiskeytown, I'm sure you've ridden that trail. It was like the most popular mountain bike trail back in the day, and I'd say it still is highly, one of the locals' favorites. So we were able to work with the park, go in and clear that out. Took us better part, I think, of a month and about $15,000. We're able to get our little trail dozer in there, regrade the trail, build a lot of water features, i.e. like features to get water off the trail, make it sustainable. And so that was like our first big project working with Whiskeytown. And they still have a lot to go. And hopefully they're going to implement a partnership agreement with us where they can help us do the work that they need done.
Okay.
So that partnership agreement, unlike a contract that would, like if they had a contract for somebody to come in and reopen a trail or build a new trail alignment, it would, it's a contract to go out to bid, and a contractor would bid on it, and they'd, be making money. But with a partnership agreement, we bring, our resources, like we could bring our equipment to the table, our knowledge, our community engagement, get volunteers out there, and then they could maybe offset the cost of like our labor, payroll.
Right.
So hopefully the park is able to do that, because I feel like there's a couple projects out there that we could go in and really do some good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a dirt trails, not paved surface trails, but how many miles of dirt trails would you say exist within the Shasta County area?
I don't even want to say a
sorry,
number.
let me narrow that.
I would say between 150 and 200.
Okay.
We are actually having, the City of Redding is partnered, or I should say Redding Parks and Trails Foundation is paying for a very comprehensive future trail planning document called The Future of Redding Trails. And they hired a consultant to work with all the different people that, that have their hands in this, so to speak. So all the different land managers working with us to develop a guiding document that would help show, one, the deficit of maybe where we're lacking in trail infrastructure, whether that's connectivity or experiences, and then potential solutions for those issues. And why did I go down that road? What was your question?
Oh, I was asking about total miles.
Okay, so he actually took inventory. So that I can get you that number, and I think it was actually higher than most people say. I feel like it was maybe 225 or thereof, of natural surface trails.
Okay, so then talk to me, because we don't want to freak out our listeners. I mean, some of these trails that you've talked about, for Red Bull riders coming to ride it, it's probably not one that you're going to take your new mountain biker down. But I know that there's a wide variety of trails in the area, and you use the phrase experiences. I think that means different trails for different levels that everybody can get out there and enjoy. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, look at our mission statement. That's what we want diversity that helps build a really robust, thriving trail community. And so it was interesting because prior to, I'm going to call it Brian Sint era of him out building, prior to that, most of our trail experiences were what you listed, like out at the OHV park or Whiskeytown. So they were really rugged, steep trails because of Whiskeytown, all those trails were just old roads.
Right.
Just old, steep, thinking mining roads,
Right.
some kind of resource extraction road. And people just opened them back up and started riding them. So they're rutted out, just really challenging experience. And that's fun. But if you go back to when I started riding back in 99, when I started taking it serious, and then you wanted to bring people into the sport, show them like what mountain biking is, the only trail we really had to do that was Oak Bottom.
Right.
And that's a 2-mile long trail, out and back, you're maybe 4.5 miles. That was the only trail we had for beginners, like only one. And so Brian came along, and I felt like the needle swung a little drastic the other way because a lot of what they were building, I feel, is more in that kind of beginnerish level, really wide trails, a lot of them very mellow, meandering, everything out by Keswick Reservoir, so FB Trail,
Right.
Sack Ditch Trail, the Hornbeck Trail. Like those are great opportunities to get people on mountain bikes. But, you're talking 25 miles of trails that to me just kind of feel the same.
Right.
And so that kind of made it swing back the other way because I was so frustrated with that type of trail development because I wanted gnarly. I wanted to not hook myself off a cliff, but I wanted challenging experiences. And so that's what kind of motivated me to start building a trail, to kind of have that more aggressive experience on a mountain bike. And that's why the other guys I met were out building trails. They were building jumps. I'm not a jumper. And so when Redding Trail Lines formed, the pendulum kind of swung far back the other way towards that challenging experience, the enticer.
Right.
And now, as we've matured, we see the need for all experiences and really highlighting just the quality of the trail, whether that is a beginner trail or an intermediate or advanced. Like we still want all of them, but we want everyone that we build have a reason for being there. And usually that reason, sometimes it is just connectivity, but typically new trail development that we're doing is more about the experience. Like what are the people doing? Is it taking them through rough, rugged terrain? Are they seeing waterfalls? Is it really fun, flowy, mellow? Is it fast and flowy? So yeah, it's really highlighting the experience of the trail.
That makes sense from a good long range planning standpoint. Like one of the things we'll talk about is some of the events that Redding Trail Alliance is going to put on. We'll get to that in a bit. But my wife is training for one of those events, and her training block just started for it. And so, normally I'm a training partner, but I want no part of this particular event. Anyways, so one of the ways that we're going to keep the family together while training is my son and I will take our bikes. We'll hit a bunch of the trails that are part of that. And he's our baby. He's the baby of the bunch. I need that beginner trail for him so we can train with mom, and he doesn't need to be out on the enticer. He'll be 9 years old when we're doing the trail riding, and we'll ride a few miles, refill our water bottles, and we'll go hit the paddle boards. So you need that for today's beginner rider is tomorrow's intermediate rider and is the advanced trail builder in another 10 years when he's big enough to swing a shovel all day long. So that's perfect.
But what's interesting going forward, we do see a need. There's actually a big deficit in what we would call, in regards to just mountain biking. I'm not talking about trail running or equestrian use, but we have a pretty big deficit in the green, the beginner, and blue, but specifically green, like highly, really fun green experiences.